Well, we are once again entering that wonderful time of year. Yes, that's right. The holiday season is once again upon us. And in this video today, I will be kicking off a multi-part series in which I will show you how to make, holiday gifts, items, even products that you can sell. And so today's video, I'm going to be making a photo carve of a holiday scene, and I'm going to add some text to it to customize it and truly make it a really beautiful wall plaque or a decoration for the home, and just give you some creative ideas on how you can, take a regular photograph and just customize it. And so you can also even, I'll show you how to, you don't necessarily have to use a landscape photograph or a holiday scene. It could be a family photo, and you could add text to that as well to send it to a loved one or something along those lines. Okay, so with that, let me now take you into Vectric, and we'll start to look at how I designed it and the toolpaths, and then we'll come back to the machine and talk about the setup and machining it. So I'm here in Vectric Aspire, and I have my job set up ready to go. This will be a single-sided project. My board is going to be 18 inches wide, a length, or they call it height, of 11.125 inches, and a thickness of 0.55. I'm always zeroing from the material surface, left front, so that's all looking good. All right, so this is my stock board. And so from here, really simple, just go to import a bitmap or vectors from a file, open that up, and here's my file. I happen to download this photo from Adobe Stock, so it uploads right onto the material. And I'm not concerned about this little overage on each side. That's fine. I'm just going to cut that off afterwards and trim it off, so that won't be a problem. So this image is really cool. I really like it for the holiday season. And I would also, what I'm going to show you today is how to, make it a little more unique. And we're going to add text across the top here, where I'll put in Happy Holidays. And I will show you how to also make that stand out even more afterward when we're finishing it and doing the painting on it. So from here, this image is really good. It has great contrast, and it between the light and the dark areas, so I don't believe I have to touch it. For further instruction on that, I've done 2 other videos, which I'll leave a link to in the description, that you can find out in greater detail, about modifying the photos and trying to get the best look out of them. So again, I'll leave the link in the description, and you can look at those for more detail on it. But for now, this one is fine, so I'm not going to do anything to it. However, I will add the text to it. So I'm just going to go over here to draw text. And I'm using, for a font, I'm using Monotype Corsiva. I want my letters bold, and I happen to like them in italics. And I left the text height at 0.875. I think that looks pretty good. Actually, you know what? For this demonstration, I'm going to leave them at 1 inch. And I think that should look fine. All right, so from here, I'm just going to enter the text. And you can see there that it looks pretty good. However, I'm gonna also have to change and play around with the spacing between the letters. They're always, for some reason, the letters always come out really close together. So it's very simple to change the spacing on the letters. Just hold down the Shift key when you're in between the letters there with the cursor, and it will expand the letter, or if you let go of the Shift key, it will contract the letter spacing. So that's pretty close. think I like how that looks there. I might just bring it down a bit there. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so from here, we just strictly go over to the toolpath section, and I will select first the photo V-carve that we're going to do, and we'll go to material setup. My material thickness is already entered, so it's 0.55 inches. My datum is at the left front corner. Material surface, no gap. All this looks great. Okay, so from here we just go to photo V-carve, and my start depth will be at 0 inches, so I'm working right off the surface of the material. My maximum carving depth is going to be 0.04. Again, I covered this in the other videos. I seem to like this setting the best. It gives a very good picture image. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to leave that at 0.04. My step over retract is 0.12, and I'll be using a 60-degree V-bit for this carve. I can show you that settings as well. This one happens to be a 3 flute, and it has a pass depth of 0.125. I will be using these settings for step over and clearance pass really don't matter because it's all done by the photo V-carve toolpath itself, so these won't affect it. But I will be spinning the spindle at 16,000 RPM, and actually that could go a little higher. I could put that back up to 18,000. And at a feed rate of 150 inches a minute and a plunge rate of 70 inches per minute. Okay, so that's all good. I'll just say okay to that. And I'll be using a raster cut on this one. And the line spacing will be dense to produce a really nice image, a very detailed image. And the line angle, I always do mine at 45 degrees running this way so that it seems to it's not invasive in the photo. When you go across this way, it just kind of looks funny. It doesn't look right. It seems to be the best when it's on a 45 degree. So let's go ahead and calculate that one. And we'll preview it as well. All right, so that looks really good. And now I will go ahead and go back to the 2D view. I'll deselect the photo, and now I'll select the letters, and we can do the V-carve on the letters. So again, my start depth will be 0, no flat depth. I'm going to be using my 60-degree V-bit as well. And again, same settings on this one. It doesn't change. So I'll say okay to that. And everything else you don't touch. So this looks good. This warning comes up, but it doesn't do anything. All right, so now I will just preview this one. And voila, there it is. So it's just a nice way to jazz up this photo carve. You can add text, and you can add anything to that you wanted to. It could be, whatever saying you want on there. You can even customize it. If this happens to be a family photo that you want to send to someone, you can say Happy Holidays, from with your last name on it. So it's just a great way to customize it and, make it something special for whoever you're giving it to, or, to set yourself ahead against the competition if you're trying to sell this, to make it, a little more personal and unique. So a great way to, again, jazz up a photo like this. Okay, so from here, it's all done. Again, you would just, select your toolpaths individually and save them to your file there in your computer so that you can head over to the machine. And so now I will do that. I will take you over to the machine and show you the setup and begin machining it. I'm back over at the machine now, and I've got my board in place. It's held down to my table with double stick tape. And I just want to stress, as I did in the other videos, it is absolutely crucial, in order for this to come out correct, that you surface both sides of the board before, putting it on the table. The tolerances that you're using to carve the photo are so minute that if your board is ever so slightly off, it will not produce the picture correctly. So again, I cannot stress it enough. The surface must be surfaced perfectly in order for the photograph to come out its best, let's say. All right. Okay, so now that you've seen the setup, I'm also using a 60-degree V-bit, so I'm all ready to go. Let me start the carving. So I've taken the board off of the machine, and I am now going to go over it with a nylon brush. This happens to be a 400 grit. And I just go in the direction of the carving, so on a 45-degree angle, to remove any kind of fuzzies. Okay, so I finished going over it with the nylon brush, and I just want to clarify why I do that. And that is so that when the piece comes off the machine and it's just been carved, there's a lot of fuzzy, wood fiber that is left in the grooves that have been cut by the machine. And you want to clean all of that out so that you get a clean groove. And the reason for that is that this next step that I apply the sealer, you want to make sure that that sealer gets onto the actual wood. And as you can see there, after you go over it with the nylon brush, the picture becomes much more prevalent and you can really see it because again, you've cleaned the entire surface. And it's very important because also after the sealer, I have to spray the entire surface with a black lacquer or spray paint. And you want to make sure that that black gets into every crevice and every groove that has been carved there. If it can't, because those fuzzy fibers are blocking it, then that's going to be a problem and you're not going to get a great photograph, carving coming through. So, okay, so this is all set and I vacuumed it as well. And I'm now going to apply my sealer, and I'm just using this Preval sprayer, and I'm using de-waxed shellac as my sealer. All right, so it's been about an hour, and now that the sealer has dried, I'm going to go over this with a black lacquer, and I'll go in both directions to make sure that I get into each crevice, fully covered. And so the black lacquer has dried overnight, and I have installed the board back on the machine. And at this point, now I'm going to do the letters, so that now that the black has been sprayed, I can now carve the letters, and then I'm going to use a different color paint for the letters so that they don't mix between the black and what color I'm going to use for the letters. All right, so let me just start the machine and we'll begin to carve the letters. So I've set up the board now to start to paint the letters. And what I'm going to use for the letters is So I'm trying to try this silver metallic type paint, and I'm going to be putting it on with a brush, really fine artist brush. And the reason being, I do not want to get any of the new silver metallic paint into any of the grooves, because if I do, then when I go to sand off the black, instead of there being black there, it's going to have the silver metallic, and that is not going to look good. So it's crucial that I keep that silver metallic inside of the letters here. So yeah, this should be fun. But again, it shouldn't be too bad with this artist brush. Let's give it a go. Might start at the back. This may take 2 coats. All right, so the paint has dried overnight and everything looks really good. I did kind of touch in a few places on the black surface. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm gonna try to touch that up afterward. And so I think everything's good to go to start sanding. I'm using a really rough 60 grit here on this one. This is an old one, actually. I'm gonna try it first. Lacquer is really tough, it's really strong, so you know, we'll see how it cuts. If not, I'll go to a brand new one. And then I'm gonna sand short of where I need to be, then I'll switch to a finer grit and, you know, sand much slower to get to where I actually need to be. Well, here it is. And as you can probably tell, yeah, I made a last minute change. I didn't like the way that the silver metallic paint came out on the letters. It just didn't look right. And it didn't go with the black and white theme of the picture. And so I made a last minute change and I sprayed over it with just black paint and then sanded it off. Nothing, you know, nothing fancy there. And I love this. It came out much, much better. And also when I looked at it, I thought, you know, it really needs a frame. Like it by itself, it's a little lackluster and doesn't quite stand out, you know. So I decided to try to do a mock-up with a frame, as I'll show you here. And so I think that looks really, really nice. It really brings out the picture, and that type of frame just kind of is a little more holiday-like, you know, holiday themed, and it really complements the photo well. And the two just, they just work together. So I hope this gives you some ideas, you know, for what you can make for, again, for loved ones or as gifts, and to even possibly sell. You can customize it. It would work well if you did, say, like I said, a family portrait or something like that. And yeah, it's just a great all-around idea to, again, add some text to it and create a great photo for the holidays. So with that, I hope, again, that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, so with that, I'll see you guys on the next one.